What is up, DIY Nation? It's your boy Darren, DIY 1978 guy, back with another video, finally. And if you watched my last video, you'll notice one thing has changed in my wardrobe here. Yeah, since the last time I did a video, which has been a minute, and I apologize for that, things have been busy. It has gotten cold over here. It is chilly. Matter of fact, it's chilly and rainy right now, which is absolutely my least favorite kind of weather. But we do what we got to do, right? I'm finally getting a chance to do another video for you guys, and today's subject matter is on the truck again, the F150. Right? There seems to always be something going on with this thing, and this particular problem is one that has been aggravating the heck out of me. Before I get to that, though, I need to give a shout out to my little female friend. I mean, she is great. Her name is Rain. They call her Rainy. Last name Day, believe it or not. And there's actually no pun intended, being the fact that it's a rainy night out right here. But little Rainy Day has hooked me up with some customized shirts here. There it is. At DIY 1978 guy, finally got a couple of shirts that I can wear, and then of course the credo. I hope you can see it. I can fix everything but stupid. Probably could fix stupid if you're talking about stupid mechanical things, but I don't work on humans, not anymore. Don't do it. But anyway, this is a shout out to Rainy. I love my shirts. Thank you for getting them for me. I finally get to do a video where I actually get to wear one, and I love them. So thank you very much, young lady. She's about 9-10 years old, 11, 12, somewhere in that area. I can't remember, but it's a good friend of mine, good friend of mine's daughter who made these for me. So thank you very much, Rainy. Love you, babe. Now, back to the subject matter expert. It is the 2021 F150, and no, we're not dealing with lights and all that other nonsense right now. That's the whole DRL thing's got a stay of execution right now. No, this is another issue that has been driving me crazy. So, backstory on this is I had to have the transmission rebuilt. I guess my dog is down here right now. Had to have the transmission rebuilt at 46,000 miles due to, you know, the known CDF drum, clutch drum issue that they have. Things got 50,000 miles on it now, and ever since I got it back, sorry, his leash is trying to trip me over here. Ever since I got it back, I've had this annoying clunk in the drivetrain. It's been getting progressively worse. It wasn't this bad when I first got it back, or else I would have brought it right back to the dealership. But you guys all know how I feel about the dealership, or letting anybody else work on my stuff for that matter. But it started out just as a light clunk, where every time you come to a stop and the suspension relaxes in the back, you feel it kunk, or if you hit the gas to go kunk, you feel this bumping in the drivetrain, is what they call it. Feels very similar to a motor mount. I don't know if any of you have ever had a bad motor mount. The one inherent difference is those you can usually feel the engine lifting up and down and dropping, whereas in this one it's just when the suspension tends to settle or go under different torque, right? When you put it in drive to go, the rear end torques a certain way and you feel this clunk. When you come to a stop, the rear end's torquing a different way because the suspension's rolling, you guys understand. Anyway, there's this annoying clunk in here. Now, I originally thought it was the rear suspension. I'm not completely ruling that out yet, but everything points to it not being that. Then I figured driveshaft, right? Because a very common problem on F-150s and other vehicles too, but several of my F-150s have had this problem over the years, is the driveshaft input spline. There's not enough grease on it, there's not enough lubrication, so as the driveshaft is moving in and out of the transmission, the tail of the transmission, those splines will actually bind up and it'll cause it to boom, 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 and same on the exit side. So it's a slip yoke. It's designed to slip in and out because as the suspension compresses and relaxes, the driveshaft needs to be able to move in and out. So very common problem. Now, interestingly, I did take this thing apart once already and lube the driveshaft. It did not make any difference. So then I started looking at the transmission mount. Well, I'm not fully sold the transmission mount is bad yet. However, I still think that might be part of the problem. but I didn't put a whole lot of grease on this drive shaft spline. So did a little more research. People are really, you know, stuffing them and packing them with grease and everything like this. So today we're going to pull the drive shaft out, and I'll show you what I'm talking about once I get it all out. We're going to pull the drive shaft out, clean out the splines and everything like that, repack it with some different grease. This is an STP Moly EP grease that we're going to use. It's got lithium moly and it's designed for extreme pressure applications. Oh, it's scientifically treated protection. I don't know what the hell that means, but it's engineered for quality and performance to protect against wear. Great. And I don't know what the hell any of this other stuff is on here, but anyway, suitable for universal joints, construction equipment, trucking and industrial use. Moly EP grease. So we're going to go with this time and try it out. And one other thing that I ended up picking up, because most of the drive shafts on these things require a 12-point socket, we've got our 12-point half-inch socket, half-inch drive socket that we're going to try. I had to kind of do some weird stuff to get the drive shaft out the last time, so hopefully this socket fits. I wanted a 3/8 drive, they didn't have it, so I'm going to get underneath there. I'll show you what all I'm talking about, give you a visual out landscape. I actually took a video of this thing binding up, which I'll try to form and feed into the final video of this as well. But let me take you underneath there. Let me get the light set up and everything. I'll take you underneath there and show you what I'm talking about. So don't y'all go nowhere. I'll be right back. So I'm going to break into this video for a second to give you an understanding of what I was actually seeing with the drive shaft spline on this thing. So what we're looking at right here in this video is me obviously driving in reverse right now, and I'm looking at it right there. But as I torque the engine over, right now I'm torquing in reverse. As I torque the engine over, it doesn't do it right at this point. So I'll back up a couple of times and then I'll end up putting it in drive. And when I do, you'll see, boom, you'll see the whole drivetrain shutter. You'll see the drive shaft actually push back in. And then here we go back in reverse again. And boom, it pulls out just a little bit again. Now, if you watch this resonator on the exhaust, you'll see as that drive shaft binds, you'll see that resonator shake. And here we go, binding up again, going forward. Now we're going to put it in reverse again, back up, drive shaft pulls out again, and then we're going back into drive, torquing it up, boom, shake, boom, shake. There it is, a little bit of torquing. This is me hitting it a little harder. And you can actually hear this in the video. You can see that drive shaft moving in and out, and you can see it binding as it goes in and out of that tail spline right there. So that was the point of this, and this is how I got to this conclusion. So back to the original video. Okay, welcome back. Looks like I got turkey neck. That's awesome. I am in one of my favorite positions ever. You know, laying on the ground on a creeper underneath a vehicle. You know, it's just not really one of my favorite positions at all. But it's sort of necessary evil, of course, when you don't have a shop or a lift to do this. So here we are. We're underneath the truck right now. And I'm going to show you what I'm talking about. So there is the drive shaft, of course, and I'll show you where it goes into the transmission. But anyway, it runs the full length of the vehicle back to the, if I can get back here, back to the differential, and you can see what I'm talking about. This exhaust is hot. See what I'm talking about, where you need the 12 millimeter socket. So we're gonna have to take that off. But up here is where it actually rolls into the back of the transfer case. Okay, so that is, like I said, it's a slip yoke. You can see that, just the wear on it. You can see how it slips in and out of that rubber seal on the back. There's a spline inside there, which I'll show you in a minute when I get it all apart. But anyway, like I said, as the suspension articulates, this drive shaft will move in and out. And when it does, and there's no lube on it, it will bind up and cause issues. So we are going to, I say we, the proverbial we, me. I'm going to take it out, and then I'll show you what I'm talking about. So give me a couple minutes, and I will embrace my inner ghoul. This is really cool. I just bought this light. Anyway, give me a few minutes. I can see my breath. Give me a few minutes, and I will be right back with the drive shaft taken out. All right, so the drive shaft is out. Here it is. We've got it laying on the table here with the spline up, and I'll show you that in a minute. A few things to note on this though. Number one, you have to jack up the back wheels so that they can spin freely. Make sure you chock your front wheels, because once you lift the back off the ground, you no longer have your park or parking brake. And like I said, the back wheels need to be able to rotate freely so that you can spin the drive shaft around. Going underneath here, as you can see, this is what the tail shaft looks like, and you can see some of the grease that I've put on there already before. We're going to clean that off, and we're going to load this thing up with some more grease and get it in there. Now this thing is actually kind of hard to get out as well, which sort of suggests that it's still binding. And then of course on the back side here, this is what the face of the excuse me, the pinion looks like for the differential. Now another item to note, they should have, let me get this light where you can see it a little better. On this one, there's a paint spot right there, right? Yours may have it, may not, don't know. But anyway, wherever the drive shaft yoke is actually mounted, make sure you mark it. I marked it on the paint line, and I also marked it on the drive shaft yoke, because you want to make sure you put that back on the same way that it came off. Usually it doesn't make a difference, sometimes it can. So just to be safe and be thorough, make sure you mark this. Like I said, I marked the yellow here. It's also marked on the drive shaft yoke that connects to this, and we'll put it back together the same way. So let's roll out like Ludacris over here. Roll out, roll out. Yeah, right. Ooh, oh, these legs just don't work anymore. All right, so anyway, here's what we're looking at. We are looking down the tube. As you can see, inside there is not a whole lot of grease, not a whole lot of lubrication at all. You can see some, I don't know if you can see that or not. You know what, here, let me do this. There you go. I don't know if you can see that or not. There's some bind marks in there. You can see where it's been rubbing up in there. You see that dark, there's a light to dark transition in there. That's somewhat suggestive of it binding up. So you can see where it looks like it's been catching inside. Then of course there's not a whole lot of grease in there. So that's actually what we're going to do is, I keep saying we, like the proverbial we, me. That's what I'm going to do is clean that out, grease it up. I'm going to clean the spline in the back of the transfer case, and then we'll load that thing up with grease and get ready to stuff it back in there, and I'll show you what that looks like in a few minutes. Let me get that all doodly bobbed and cleaned and whatever else you want to call it, and I'll be right back. All right, I'm back, and I've got the drive shaft spline all cleaned out. Got all the old grease out, all the old grime, and I've got new grease in there. So they say they, the experts on the forums and everything else, say to be pretty liberal with the grease inside here. And no, I don't mean the political affiliation. I mean be liberal in the fact, like, put a decent amount in there. One thing you do, what you want to happen is you want that grease, when you slide that spline in there, you want that grease to spread all the way down the surface of the spline so that it covers the entire frictional path of that spline. What you don't want to happen, and what you want to be careful of, you don't want to put too much grease in there so that it all binds up at the back down there and actually causes it not to be able to compress all the way. So you don't want globs and globs of grease in there, but you want enough to where it's going to lube up the splines all the way down. So I also went ahead and cleaned the spline on the back of the transmission or transfer case as well. Oh, got threads hanging out my shirt here, just extra threads. You know, I'm threaded. I don't even know what that means. But anyway, I went ahead and cleaned out the part on the back of the tail shaft on the back of the transfer case. I'm gonna roll up under here. Actually, I'm gonna get you mounted up under there with the light, and then I'll roll up under there with the drive shaft, and we'll stab it back in place and see how she does. So be right back, don't go anywhere. Okay, sometimes the hardest part of this entire thing is getting the camera angle to where you can actually see it. I've got the drive shaft on the floor here. We're gonna go ahead and stab this thing up in here. Now, one thing you want to be careful of, despite the fact that these drive shafts are supposed to be pretty robust, you still don't want to be dropping it or doing anything like that, because you can actually damage them. So what we're going to do is actually stuff it in the nose here and then slide it up in there. It fought me for a second as it was pushing the grease down that spline, but now it is sliding in and out the way it's supposed to, which is good. Now let's see if we can flip you guys around over here and see if we can get this going here. There we go. We're gonna go ahead and push up the back of it now. Hope you guys can see that all right. So we're looking for, there's my mark. Now I gotta find the mark on my drive shaft. Oh, it did it. See? This is why I can't stand technology. I work in technology and I can't stand it. This truck is nearly impossible to keep it in neutral. You get 30 minutes and then it pops itself right back into drive automatically. Pretty much the only way to do it is put it in neutral and then disconnect the battery, which will probably cause all kinds of other problems. So give me a second here. I need to go put this back in neutral so I can rotate the dang drive shaft. Be right back. All right, well, that was interesting. Despite having it in neutral, you know, the drive shaft still wanted to rotate on its own, which I found pretty interesting. So yes, it was rolling around underneath here. So here is my black mark. I don't know if you can see, but there's my black mark that I have, that I put on there. So that's how I know this is going to line up. Now, there is a little collar that this thing will sneak over, so it's kind of hard to put on. So you want to get your bolt started in here before trying to hammer that on, because you want obviously the bolts to be lined up so that you can screw them in. And this thing is kind of a pain to get off. So here we go. So we'll roll this around like so and get all these started. And you want to snug them up. Like, I'm gonna use the impact gun, but you want to snug them up kind of crisscross pattern first to make sure that the drive shaft slides onto that collar properly. So get my arrows here. Back the power down on this thing a little bit. So alright, we'll rotate it around to the other side. Get that collar on. Yay! Loud noises. a little bit. Doesn't really sound like it's beating it up much. Flip it around to this side. Doesn't sound like I have a whole lot of air pressure. I am going to pull torque on these with the ratchet as well, so just to make sure they're good and snug. This is the fun part here. Alright, so we are in and lined up. Turn this a little bit. Now, much better. So, fun stuff here is keeping this drive shaft in place while you're trying to tighten this thing up. So, I use a pry bar to do this. I can get it in there somewhere. Yep, that didn't work. There we go. This is not very comfortable doing it this way. There we go. Come off of there. Just rotate this around. Try to get this thing stuck in there so that it, you know, pushes against the ground. I don't know why I've got Imagine Dragons song stuck in my head. And it's not Thunder Before the Lightning, which would be appropriate. No, it didn't actually thunder or lightning today. Alright, so that's good. So now we're good and tight. And that's how you do it. So these things should be good and snug. It should be lined up. Drive shaft should be moving in and out the way it's supposed to now. I'm gonna go ahead and put everything back down on the ground, get everything taken out from underneath here, including myself, and then we'll go take it for a ride, see what happens. So I'll be right back. All right, I am back in the driver's seat. We're gonna take this thing for a ride and see how she does. Because I'm looking for the key. All right. Sounds good. Sounds pretty good, neighbor. Ooh, need some air in the tires. New tires. Whole bunch of issues with those too, all the rubbing. Remind me to explain to you how wheel offsets work, because I clearly did not calculate properly. Anyway, all right, let's see. Let's get a little air going here. Butt warmer on. We're gonna go see if we can last minute check. Everything's out from under the vehicle. In case I run over something, we'll see. Yeah, it's gonna get a little dark in here. You probably won't be able to see me very well. All right, hello fence. Let's see if I can. That really didn't help at all now, did it? Okay, that's all right. Maybe night vision will work. Let's see. Probably not. All right, here's what we'll do. There you go. How's it up? Technology is awesome. All right, there you go. Now you'll be able to see what we're doing here. I can't see where I'm going. Here we go. So, like I said, you'd feel it when the suspension rocks. should feel it when I come up to, you guys probably won't be able to hear it. Well, you wouldn't have been able to hear it before anyway. So let's see. Come up to the traffic light or stop sign. And no clunk. No way. I can't believe it. But I have to. I'm sitting here just listening to it. There's a rattle. That's good. I love rattles. Alright. Man, I'm surprised. I would have thought it was that stupid transmission mount, because that thing's bouncing all over the place. Alright. What's up, UPS? So, again, this is a 2021 Ford F150 FX4, four-wheel drive, 50,589 miles. Now, interestingly, I asked the dealership to do this exact thing when they had it, you know, when they had it all apart. Guess what they didn't do? Lube the splines. Look at that. Oh my gosh. No way. Well, this is why you measure 18 times and then cut once, because the first 17 times I had, well, 16 times. First time was Driveshaft spline. The other 15 were me going after the transmission mount. And now the 17th time is the Driveshaft spline again. Well, hello there, Mr. Amazon driver, with your high beams on, blinding people. Hope you got something for me. All right, look at this. Let's try this again. Come to a stop. Oh, righteous. All right, this is awesome. And there's the rubbing from the tires in the front. Something else I gotta address. All right, pulling in here. Trying not to hit my pole. Turn this thing off. Well, man, it's hot up in here. There we go. So, there it is. Driveshaft spline. That's what it ended up being after all. I'm not completely surprised. Like I said, these things have all kinds of problems like that. I mean, pretty much every single Ford truck that I've had, my Mustangs, anything that was rear-wheel drive, I've had to do this to lube the splines. I've never had to put this much lube into a spline before, though. I clearly did not put enough in the last time, and it's still binding up. But man, it feels like you got bad motor mounts. It feels like you got bad transmission mounts. Sounds like there, feels like the suspension's binding up. This one was definitely more aggressive of a lump, clunk, bump in the drivetrain than I've ever had on any other of my vehicles that's had the problem. So there it is. Driveshaft spline lube, another DIY project. We'll see how long it lasts. Hopefully there's enough grease in there for it to last. Again, the moly grease is supposed to help for protection of the metals. It's supposed to keep it a little more slick from what I understand. It's just supposed to be better. So I went ahead and bought another tube or another tub of grease. That was the moly grease. So it's recommended. They do have some Ford. If you're doing this on your Ford, they do have a tube of Ford specific type of grease. I forget, it's like RT3489314 to the 10th power or something like that. Oh, it's RT Pi. Yeah, it's 3.14. Never mind. I'm just rambling. Anyway, this has been finally another DIY video from yours truly, Darren at DIY1978 guy. Once again, another shout out to Rainy for the shirts. I love them. I'm gonna get some more from you. Thank you again for making me a little bit more official. Again, sorry I have to do this in the dark. That's the other thing. Daylight savings time has killed my light after work every day, so doing this in the dark. But hey, we do what we can. Anyway, thank you all for all the support, all the new subscribers that we've got. I think I'm up to like 120, 130 subscribers, something like that. Couple thousand, I think it was 2,200, 2,300 views as of the last time I looked. I mean, you guys are fantastic. Like I said, in 10 years, hopefully this will monetize and I can, you know, afford a shop and everything like that. But until then, my butt will be laying on the ground, on the creeper, underneath the truck or underneath the car, or like a week ago, underneath the RV, doing brakes on that thing. Unfortunately, I couldn't video that one. That one was nerve-wracking. But anyway, thank you all for the support. I love you guys, and stay tuned for the next one. at DIY 1978 guy. Peace.